The government is still shut down. The government is not open because Democrats refuse to do what they've done many, many times, just say yes to a clean CR. A clean CR is just a continuing resolution. No more spending, no less spending, the exact same spending, and now we can negotiate. This has been political theater from the beginning, and I've got to get the inside scoop from Dr. Roger Marshall. He, of course, is a United States Senator. We always love having him on. Great state of Kansas. Good to see you, Doc. How are you?
Joe, I'm doing great, but I must admit I'm a little frustrated today that we're still in lockdown. I think the biggest news I can share with you and your listeners is the Democrats woke up more emboldened than ever. That after last night's win in these elections, they're saying that one of the reasons they won is because of the government shutdown. So they're now convinced the longer they make this drag out, the more it's going to help them in the midterms. So to heck with paying our military, to heck with SNAP and our children's lunch money, all those types of things. They're locked in on this shutdown as what's best for their political future, which we always thought this was political theater to start with.
Well, Doc, is the problem in the messaging? Because the Democrats are wrong and the Republicans are right. The liberals are wrong. The conservatives are right. If you spell it out very simply, what I said in the open is exactly right. You need 5 more Democrats to vote for this to have a continuing of the spending that they actually agreed to. How many times? 6 times, 13 times, whatever the hell it is. And we've never in our history in this country had a government shutdown over a clean CR. This is the first time ever. So why are they winning on the messaging?
Yeah. So number one, they had the left legacy media complicit, right? So they want this as well. The legacy media does not want to be talking about Donald Trump getting peace in Gaza, the great trade deals he got done in China, the $15 trillion these foreign countries are going to invest in America, that the price of gasoline is $2.50 a gallon back home. So I think the legacy media is complicit. And then I don't always, maybe we're pulling the wrong question at point in time. So what we do know, though, is that people do not feel that the government should be kept shut down because of these Obamacare subsidies. It's a battle. I wish there was a better way for Republicans to get out the message, but I still think this legacy media is a big part of it.
Marshall.senate.gov. It's Dr. Roger Marshall, U.S. Senator, great state of Kansas. Always glad to have you on. The sales job they've done is that the Republicans have the House and the Senate and the presidency. Obviously, the shutdown is about the Republicans. People don't understand the supermajority you need to end the filibuster and get it to cloture. They actually think that because you guys have a simple majority, you're purposely keeping the government closed. I'm doing the best job I can. We've got 170 stations, many in Kansas. I think others are doing a very good job as well. But you're right, the legacy media is not getting in line. What do we have to say to dissuade people from believing the Hakeem Jeffries who are out there alleging that you're to blame? Is there something we can specifically say to fix that thought process?
Well, Joe, I don't know that there is. I sat there and I was working out in the gym 2 days ago, and the CNN little header down below said exactly what you said. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Government still shut down. I wasn't listening to. The volume was turned down, but that was their header. I think we keep preaching the message. Like my pastor used to say, we save souls one person at a time. I think there's bigger things that we can be talking about. But this is one reason President Trump is so adamant that we need to go nuclear and end this filibuster issue. And I would just say even just basic American government classes. I got to admit, I did not know anything about the filibuster when I finished my government class in high school.
Well, the filibuster was something added. It's obviously not in the Constitution. They added it to give a voice to the minority party, obviously, but this is something that's extra constitutional, and you guys clearly can do the nuclear option. Here's my problem, and I wonder if you'll comment on this. And again, it's Senator Roger Marshall. We love having you on, Doc. My problem is this. You could have done the nuclear option earlier before the No King's Day, but everybody said, let's wait for No King's Day to happen, because then the liberals will come and they'll vote for it because they got what they wanted to say that Donald Trump's a king or a fascist or whatever. And then people said, well, let's wait until after the election on Tuesday, which I think plays into what Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer wanted. So now we've given them everything they want, these stupid rallies, the stupid wins last night, the blue wave last night. If you get rid of the filibuster now, it's like all for naught. I mean, I would have done it Monday. You know what I mean? I would have done it before the actual election. Is there anything to that, do you think?
Sounds like you've been talking to President Trump. I think that he made a lot of similar points this morning at the White House to us. Joe, every day I wake up and I pray that I would do justice. 2 weeks ago, I would have told you I would have never considered ending the filibuster.
Right.
But every day this goes on, I'm sitting there thinking, gosh, maybe President Trump is right. The whole idea is that the filibuster protects the minority, that we're a republic, we're not a democracy.
Right.
We are a republic, we protect the rights of the minority. Nothing but does that better than the filibuster does. But my biggest concern today is, heaven forbid we lose the Senate in 2 or 4 years. Are they going to do it anyway? And if they do, and they control the White House and the House as well, then we do end up with a PAC Supreme Court and Puerto Rico's a state and a whole host of other things we could talk about. So I'm sitting there today wondering, if we don't do anything, does it matter? Are they going to do it anyway? Well, if your opponent's going to change the rules anyway, we might as well take advantage of them well. And I'm a pretty decisive person.
Yeah.
But I'm truly have mixed emotions today. And I'm heard the president out this morning, and I've heard the institutionalists out today at lunch, and fighting through this myself.
Senator, when you have a meeting with the president like that and such an important issue, is every one of the 53 Republicans there? Who did he meet with? Is it just leadership? How many senators were there, and how he's a persuasive guy. I didn't talk to him about this, but I talked to him 14 times. He's a persuasive guy. What did he want you to do, and how many senators were there?
Yeah, every Republican senator was invited. At least 50 were there, and it depends on the meeting. But in this particular one, obviously, when he calls us yesterday afternoon, says he wants us there for breakfast, we knew what it was about,
right?
As well. And even in front of the media, the media was there to start with. So I'm not saying anything that's not public news. But certainly he really does think the soul of the nation is at stake. He's got an American first agenda. He knows that if we end the filibuster today, we can fulfill that agenda. We can secure our elections. Think about that, Joe. We could end mail-in ballots, all those types of things.
Yes.
We would require voter IDs. That's never going to happen with a filibuster there. And he's absolutely convinced that the Democrats are going to end the filibuster when they are next control the Senate. So I think that was his message, and he is pretty persuasive, I got to admit.
Former OBGYN, also retired Army Reserves. It's Dr. Roger Marshall, U.S. Senator, great state of Kansas. Let me throw a couple of things against the wall and see what you think about this. Remember, I'm a talk show host. I'm not very smart. But let me throw a couple of things against the wall. Why don't you guys, because you have the majority in the House and Senate, and you got the presidency, why don't you do a law, pass a law or an act that says the Supreme Court is 9 justices? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you pass a law or an act that says the District of Columbia will never be a state? Why can't you guys have the majority? Just get it done. And that, because I understand the concern about getting rid of the filibuster, but Harry Reid did it in 2013 and didn't care what you guys thought. And then the Republicans did it later, didn't care what the Democrats thought. Just do it, but of course, hedge your bets by saying, here's the number of the Supreme Court, because in the Constitution, as you know as well as I, and those watching and listening know, it doesn't say how many justices. It says there will be a Supreme Court. It's the only thing in Article 3. So why not do that now, because you've got the majority? Could you not pass something that said the Supreme Court is comprised of 9 people?
Well, again, that would take 60 votes in the Senate.
It would, okay.
To do that. And we won't. Yeah, it would. So 9 is just fine, by the way, on the Supreme Court, but it would take 60 senators to pass it.
That's all very interesting. So what does the president want you to do? Did he say, let's get to closure now, let's do a simple majority, let's blow out the filibuster? And then, once you go nuclear, because your concerns are valid about what the Democrats would do. Obviously, they're valid. Why not do it and then put it back in place? You guys are in control. Can't you put the rule back in?
I never thought of that one, to take it away and then put it back in. I never thought about that, Joe. I'm going to have to hire a legal consultant to do that. So I guess it is feasible. It sort of would open the door for them to do it when they control all 3 levers as well.
But I guess the point is, and I'm glad that I gave you an idea that maybe you hadn't thought of, because, again, you're way smarter than I am. You're right, but the Democrats are going to do it anyway. Roger, you and I both know if they were in the majority right now, they'd do anything they wanted, and they'd say, filibuster, what's that? What happened to, let me ask you something that might be semantics, but I know that you'll know the answer. Why is it that they can just say they're going to filibuster, but they don't really have to do it? Why not really make them give speeches until they fall asleep, or give speeches until they have to eat a meal, and then you guys can vote for cloture? Why allow them just to say we're going to filibuster, but they don't really have to do it?
Right. So we could do that by changing the rules of the Senate. And I think again, when the shoe's on the other foot, then we don't want to be held accountable to that
Right.
as well. So I think that's the reason that it's hard to push that one across the plate here. I do want to back up to one point though.
Please.
The institutionalists in my caucus feel like the Democrats would never actually end the filibuster, even though they just all voted for it 2 years ago.
Yes.
And that's how fickle people are up here. So every Democrat that was here then voted in favor of that. But of course, Kirsten did not vote for it. Neither did Joe Manchin. So, and they're gone. And that again, that's the president points. Yeah, you look, they are gone because they didn't salute Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer on that particular one as well. But there certainly are people in my party that are convinced that if they really had live ammunition, as we say, if they really thought they had all the votes, then 5 or 10 of them would stop it. Now, I don't have as much faith in them as the institutionalists in my party do.
Doctor, wasn't it just 2 years ago, like you mentioned, that they were all saying that the filibuster was racist? I seem to remember that. It's a racist thing. It's left over from the Civil War days, and it's racist. We have to get rid of the filibuster. Now they're relying on it. I mean, that's just dumb, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And again, I think that's, as you said, I'm a doctor. I'm not a politician, but a politician, when you were lived up here the last 30 years of your life, you'll say almost anything. And it even just blew my mind to sit there today and argue some of these points with some of my members in my caucus and say, they're just going to vote for it anyway. And they would say, oh, no, they won't. When this really push comes to shove and they knew they didn't have the votes, they would vote one way, but then 2 years later they would vote another. And I just never had, really thought through that people would do that. So I'm still coming to grips with it.
It is Senator Roger Marshall. Listen, I'm glad that you're not a politician first, you're a doctor first, because I think that we need people like you in the Senate, in the House, to really be a real person. I think a lot of people get mired in their politics, and I've never seen you do that, and I appreciate that. What are your thoughts about New York, about Virginia, about New Jersey last night? New Jersey and New York, we figured would go that way. I was stunned that so many people were pushing for Cuomo on our side because they were afraid of Mamdani winning, but the guy won, and it's going to be really bad for New York. Kansas should get a bunch of new people. Here in Texas, we'll get a bunch of new people moving in. But Virginia is really the one that I want to talk about because that was a Republican governor, Republican lieutenant governor. You have an incoming top cop, the attorney general, who will be the next attorney general of Virginia, literally wrote text saying he would like to see 2 bullets in the head of his rival, and he would like to see the children of Republicans die. Doc, what am I missing? How did that happen in Virginia?
Yeah. Let me just touch on New York really quickly.
Please.
Mamdani is going to be the best pincushion we've ever had as Republicans. He's going to be the punching bag.
Yes.
And it is great for people in Kansas to realize there's really people that are that crazy to start with. On Virginia, so I was not surprised. I mean, even before that election, I said, you wait and see. The national media, the legacy media is going to crow that this is the biggest upset since the Olympic hockey team the American hockey team upset the Russians in 1980, right? But no, this has always been a ocean blue state as well. I think Governor Youngkin caught lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
He was coming off of a situation where I called them mama bears. The mama bears were so upset with Joe Biden over issues like making their kids wear masks. They couldn't go to church. All those types of things were right fresh in their mind. And one thing I've learned about voters, their memory is not very long. So they've forgotten, voters today have forgotten that what the border looked like just a year ago.
Yes.
That we were losing 200 Americans every day to fentanyl poisoning. And by gosh, the border is now secure, so nobody seems to care anymore. So I think it's all those things, but Virginia is a very, very blue state. So many federal employees down there as well that, of course, they're blaming Republicans for the shutdown. They haven't been paid, and you know the rest of the story. I
had somebody coming into I did a TikTok live last night. I had about 2,000 people in the chat, and somebody came up to debate me, and he was trying to make me understand why Mamdani is great for New York because he's going to take away the money from the billionaires and the millionaires. And I asked a simple question. I said, well, is he going to give it to you? That doesn't make any sense. He's taking money away from those who employ people like you, and you think the government's going to take it away and somehow siphon it to your mailbox? You're not getting that money. He's looking to make it a socialist town. He's going to have government-run grocery stores. But a number that jumped out at me today, Doctor, that really startled me, and I wonder if you've got an opinion on this. Why did 84% of Gen Z women in New York vote for Mamdani? They're not dumb people. 84% voted for this guy. Why?
Yeah, that's a number that we that certainly stood out to us today as well, Joe. I don't have a good explanation for you. Obviously, there was not a better alternative for them. I know.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm speechless, as you can tell.
Yeah.
I do want to share. Well, just as I thought about your comment there, an aha moment I had up here, Joe. I was freshman ag committee talking about the food stamp programs.
Yeah.
And the person in charge of the food stamp programs from New York City described economic development, that the more money we gave them for food stamps, it would help economic development in New York, that they would take that dollar we gave them, and it would go through the economy 8 times. And if we just gave all communities more food stamps, the economy would grow times 8.
What the heck?
I mean, you can't make this up, right? So they're talking about federal dollars actually growing the economy, and even when we figure out GDP, government spending is part of the calculation for GDP. I think government spending is a negative thing.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm not I'm getting what you're laying down. I think I am. But food stamps or SNAP supposed to give people food, supposed to give people nutrition, some assistance. Why would you take that and filter it through the government 8 times to try to allegedly build the economy? None of that money is going to trickle down to those who need it, and people will leave that city. I think you're going to see a mass exodus anyway. Is there any way that you guys in the Senate or the House or the president or whomever can say, when we give you money for food, you got to use it for food?
Oh, I think so. I think that, and if anything that President Trump is trying to do, it is trying to be more efficient. The fraud, the waste, and abuse is tremendous. In my time since I've been here, nutrition programs have grown from $60 billion a year to $180 billion a year. I've been here for 8 years now. So they've tripled. The nutrition programs have tripled. Whenever you see a government program grow like that, you can count on lots of waste, fraud, and abuse in the middle of that.
Just about out of time with the senator. We appreciate you taking the time. Just give me your best guesstimate. Are you guys going to do nuclear? Are you going to reopen the government that way, or are you going to have 5 sensible Democrats join you?
Yeah, I think as of today, there's not the votes to end the filibuster. I do think that the drum beats, I can't use that term anymore. The smoke coming out from the other side of the aisle is getting thicker, and they're sending us smoke signals that they're ready to do something. And I think maybe tomorrow or Friday we'll have a vote and government will be open. That would be my best guess is Friday. The Senate will vote. We still got to have the House will have to come in over the weekend or Monday and finish the job.
Sounds good. Listen, Senator, we appreciate you taking the time. It's Dr. Roger Marshall, of course, former OBGYN, also a retired Army Reserves, and just a great senator for the great state of Kansas. I appreciate you always making time. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you.
All right, brother. We're back after this. Stay right here.